For many women, cycle syncing has been revolutionary in changing the game when it comes to understanding our bodies and productivity. But for some women, it doesn't work out that way. So today I want to share with you, is cycle syncing actually for you? And if it's not for you, what should you be doing? So, cycle syncing is the practice that you align yourself with the different phases of your menstrual cycle because those phases impact your mood, focus, and recovery. And your body needs different practices, nutrients, and exercises to support you during those phases. You may have heard that there are 4 cycle phases: menstrual, which is where you want to rest and recover; follicular, when your energy is building; ovulation, when you're more social and vibrant; and luteal, when you can tend to be a little bit more withdrawn. But cycle syncing was originally designed for women who have a healthy 28-day ovulatory cycle. And that's where a lot of women tend to feel overwhelmed and confused with trying to sync with their cycles. You might find yourself saying, well, I'm in this phase, but I don't feel that way, or I don't feel like I have more energy, or actually I feel more depressed during this phase. Or you might even start feeling more frustrated with your body if it doesn't perfectly align with a 28-day cycle. And when your body is burned out, or if you're dealing with irregular cycles or PCOS, cycle syncing doesn't feel like a wonderful fix for you. It feels very frustrating, or something else to add pressure onto your daily life. Now, one of the things that I hear a lot of times is, well, you could just sync with the moon and just match how you feel with the phases of the moon. So maybe when it's a new moon, you could start, going within more during that time. And I just don't agree with that. I mean, number one, I'm not going to be looking at the moon and trying to determine what mood I'm going to be in. I think the most important thing to recognize is that our cycles are syncing with us. Okay, so that's the number one thing I want you to really know and understand, that your cycle is following whatever you're doing. So if you feel inconsistent, or if you don't have that stability in your routine, then the body is going to start reflecting that, because everything is becoming randomized. We're going to bed at different times. We're eating at different times. So we can't always expect our bodies to show up with that same level of consistency. And one of the things I tend to have a frustration with is very much listed as a 28-day cycle. Days 1 through 6 or 5 is your menstrual phase. Days 6 to day 13 is your follicular phase. Days 14 to days 21 is ovulation, and day 21 to day 28 is luteal. And it kind of breaks it up into this very cookie cutter cycle. And there's a lot that is very flawed with that. And so I wanted to read some clarification, because I want women to really have the information and education on how things are really working. The big myth that I want to break here is that ovulation is literally just one day. It's not even a whole day. It's like 12 hours. It's not for a whole week. And so when we think, oh, I'm ovulating for a whole week, there's no ovulation for a whole week. We have the end of the follicular phase. And yes, we have a little bit more of that energy. The libido's going up for about like a good 5-day window, but it's leading up to ovulation. And then ovulation hits in the midpoint of our cycle sometimes. We don't always hit ovulation. Ovulation is going to be dependent on our stress levels, our blood sugar, and so much more impacts if we are actually going to ovulate or not. If we don't hit ovulation, then the body does not naturally move into the luteal phase. So sometimes we're like, oh, well, now I didn't ovulate, but I'm in the luteal phase. And there's another misconception with the luteal phase, is we just have this understanding or belief that the luteal phase is just the week before your period, but it's not. So it's really the time that the body is preparing for a potential pregnancy, which is why it always happens right after ovulation. So instead of it being the 3rd week that you're in ovulation and the 4th week you're in luteal for actually 2 weeks. So it's really more so early luteal for 1 week and late luteal for the last week. And that late luteal week is actually your transition week where the hormones start to shift. And that's when we can tend to be a little bit more sensitive. So that's the one big, like, huge flaw that I see a lot of times. Like, I know it has all the best intentions for when people are sharing, like, oh, you are in this phase if you're on day XYZ of your cycle. And that works when you do indeed hit every single phase of your cycle. You are ovulating and you have this perfect 28-day cycle, but not every woman has that. And so sometimes it can be really frustrating for women and it can cause more stress than not, because we are interpreting that something's wrong with our bodies. And my biggest message I have for women is that your body is so wise. We just have to learn how to work with it and understand it, because there's absolutely nothing wrong. There's just shifts and changes that are happening. So if you struggle with irregular cycles, if you have PCOS, or if you are under a lot of stress, cycle syncing may not be exactly the best for you. So what do you do in this situation? Instead of focusing on syncing with the phases of your cycle, balancing your cycle is going to be most important right now. So we really want to get your hormones nice and balanced, so that way we can know when to start applying all of this information when it comes to how to adjust with the phases of our cycles. And if you are ready to learn how to balance your hormones naturally, then click the link down below. You can join us in our community where you learn how to balance your hormones while having fun at the same time. Now, the next question I get a lot of times is, well, how does cycle syncing work when you're on birth control? So if you want to learn more about that, then click this video here.